Attendance check, guys. Nandito si Ma'am Chini, Ma'am Cristel, Ma'am Queenie, Ma'am Joy, Ma'am Janisa, and wala na si Sir, si Sir Joshua.
Asa na si Sir Joshua? And they're on YouTube, right?
Yes.
So again, continue tayo. So our topic for this afternoon is principle of teaching, teaching profession, educational technology, and practice teaching. This is a very broad topic, but it's just a 50 items so that we can have an in-depth discussion about different choices. All right? So let's talk about trivia before we are going to start with our class. Trivia is normally a bits of information, and normally lumalabas to sa mga general information question. And mind you, class, during the board exam, yung trivia natin ang daming lumabas. So it's important also to take time. Yung book natin na ipoprovide natin, may 1,000 trivia yon. So therefore, you are equipped with yung lalabas sa actual board exam. Pag alam mo yung mga trivias na ipinaprovide there, plus the 1,000 exam questions, definitely board exam. Okay? So the most common letter in English language is E. No surprise there. But did you know that 1 in 8 of all letters written is E? Alright? That's trivia. So pag ang tanong, what are the most common used letter in the sentence? It's letter E. Second, the longest word that does not repeat any of its letter is uncopyrightable. So another trivia, uncopyrightable. The longest word that does not repeat any of its letters. Next one. How will you read this one? Crow, as musical instrument once played in Europe, is the longest word without a vowel. The compulsive desire to look at something that horrifies you, such as a horror movie or an injury, is called cacospectomania. Alright? A compulsive desire to look at something that horrifies you, such as a horror movie or an injury, is called cacospectomania. Next, trivia. Bookkeeper and bookkeeping are the only two words with 3 consecutive double letters. Next. Okay, now let's start with a question now. We have only a few trivias before the actual question. Question number 1. Which of the following laws strengthen teacher education in the Philippines through the establishment of Center of Excellence? Is Republic Act 7722, Republic Act 7784, Republic Act 7796, or Republic Act 7834? The correct answer here is Republic Act 7784, putting some teacher of excellence or university into teachers of excellence. The most important Republic Act that you must also learn, 36, which is the Professionalization Act. And of course, the Pambansang Bilang 232 and the 4670 or Republic Act 4670 or Magna Carta for Public School Teacher. Sandali, nawala yung slides natin. Alright? So now can you see my slides there? Please feedback. Nawala bang slides from what number?
Hello, ma'am.
Nung trivia ba may slides pa ako?
Meron, ma'am.
So kaninang trivia, meron ba?
Wala.
Sige. Let's repeat the trivia, ha? Okay, so pero naalala yung trivia. Mamamalin ganyan. Okay, so question number 1, which of the following laws strengthen teachers' education in the Philippines through the establishment of Center of Excellence? Of course, the correct answer there is Republic Act 7784, otherwise known as establishing of Center of Excellence here in the Philippines. So in Iloilo, the Center of Excellence is known to be the Center of Excellence for Education, rather, is known to be the U.S. Visayas State University. So, meron ding Teachers of Excellence, or we have the Center of Excellence for Engineering. Sa Mechanical, we have Western Institute of Technology. For ECE, or Electronics Engineering, we have ISAT University. So, meron silang identified excellence or Center of Excellence. Sa education, it's Philippine Normal University in NCR and in Bacolod City, and of course the West Visayas State University in Iloilo. And there are a lot more. They have to apply or pass certain accreditation in order to be labeled as a center of excellence. All right. Number 2, what does free public secondary education under the law mean? So what do you think is the meaning of that? Public secondary education. A, right of every student to enter public secondary school. B, free from being screened to enter public secondary school. C, free from payment of school fees identifies and authorized by law. Ang dami na talagang manok dyan, ano? Or D, kindly turn off your microphone. D, free from payment of tuition and other fees for student enrolled in public secondary. So the correct answer there is free from payment of tuition and other fees for student enrolled in public. Meron po tayong tinatawag na no collection policy, which means there will be no payment to be gathered from the student. Yung ginagather nila is the PTA fees. But PTA fees should not be collected during enrollment. Kasi meron tayong no collection policy. So, hindi tama yon na upon enrollment, magkukolect yung school ng collection fees for PTA because as an institution, there will be no collection policy. Teacher D is assigned in rural area. Teacher E in depressed community. Teacher F in a hazardous area. And Teacher G in a place where is it Teacher D, E, F, or G? Hazard area. Okay? So therefore, it's letter Teacher F. So, ma'am, ano ba yung hazard area?
Sa hazard area.
Oh, it must be 10 kilometers away from the town or the poblasyon, regular means of transportation. So, entitled siya ng hazard pay. Alright? Ma'am, ito ba yung lapas from Iloilo? Teachers must have a hazard pay? No, kasi mas malapit siya. Alright? And of course, masasardos pa yung mga IP nating teachers who are teaching there in the mountainous area or napaka-remote na ng area. So, they are entitled of hazard pay. So, the hazard pay based on Republic Act 4670 is also, they're entitled 25% of their salary. So, if the starting salary of the teacher is 20,000, so 25% of that is 5,000, it must be added to the salary of the person. Alright? Pero meron clamor na hindi raw yan natatanggap. Alright? Teacher number 4. Teacher H contracted an illness that required rest for more than 1 year. Which leave should she apply? Is that a sick leave, personal leave, vacation leave, indefinite leave? The correct answer is indefinite leave. Kung more than 1 year, normally mga...
Dapat yan.
Example of that, Joshua, is the pulmonary disease, TB, cancer, they can file an indefinite leave. So, yung sick leave naman normally kasi runs only for 15 days. Yung iba naman, 30 days. But, pag medyo longer, It must be an indefinite leave. Okay? Number 5. A school personnel can avail of free legal service under certain circumstances. Principal 1 was accused of maligning her neighbor. Is Principal 1 entitled of the said service? A. Yes. She should defend herself. B. Funds are not available. C. No. It might bring some disagreement in school. Or D. No, because the case is not related to her professional work. So your answer must be letter D. They are not entitled of the school assistance because the case is not related to her professional duties. So unless yung teacher nagka-problema sa kapwa niya teacher, sa estudyante, or sa kanyang boss, so bibigyan siya ng legal assistance. But anyhow, yung sabi ko ay free naman to all. That's why in all cases, we have the Public Attorney's Office, yung PAO natin. Bawat area may tinatawag tayong Public Attorney's Office. They are free, they are serving rather our Filipino people with free. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-represent sa korte na wala kang legal defendants. So meron ka dapat na lawyer, alright? So lahat, kahit guilty ka or not guilty, dapat may lawyer to protect also your right as a person. Alright? Next number 6. Teacher J discusses conflicts between warring groups in Mindanao. Which pillar should be stressed more? A. Learning to be. B. Learning to live together. C. Learning to do. D. Learning to know. Alright? So, as we all know, we have pillars of learning that we learn from school. However, Delors, a few years ago, releases the fifth pillars, which was not included in the old curriculum of our education. So, 5 na ngayon yung tinatawag nating pillars of learning. Learning to be, learning to live together, learning to do, and learning to know. And the last, which was released by Delors Commission, is learning to transform oneself and society. So, pag tinanong, ilan yung pillars of learning? So, as we all know, it's 4, but it has an additional 1. The learning to transform oneself and society. What's the difference between the 5 learning or pillars of learning? Learning to be is learning towards the development of holistic individual. Learning to live together, learning towards relationship and socialization. Learning to do talks about skills and competencies. Learning to know talks about knowledge, and learning to transform oneself is learning how to make sacrifices for the sake of others. Example of sacrifices, Angel Luxin. Sacrifice our personal funds for helping others. Di ba mayroong ganon? So you are also sinasabi natin nasa level ka na of learning to transform oneself in society if you become selfless and think of other people before yourself. So, based on the question for number 6, because this is all about the conflict between warring groups in Mindanao, the pillar that stresses more on this is what we call learning to live together. Alright? So, pag sumagot ka kanina sa mga questions at tama yung sagot mo, mag-i-enjoy ka. Pero pag hindi mo sinagutan yung kanina, ay, mali ako. But I would like to encourage everyone to you can do it na yung Google Classroom natin. Sagot-sagutan mo na lang. Tapos tapusin mo. Tapos mag-enjoy ka sa discussion. And you can also avail what we call learning. Yung hindi natin nagsa-stop na learning kasi we are working this towards licensure or licensed professional teacher ka. Pero pag hindi mo ginawa, Lord, I did my best. No, you never did your best. Ngayon, yung nag-a-attend dyan, yung talagang napaka-diligent mag-attend ng klase, you did your best. And for sure, our God will do the rest. So that's the reason why ngayon, take the opportunity na medyo okay yung time natin na sa bahay lang, parang nag-Facebook lang tayo. Alright? Number 7. Teacher K teaches in public school in her locality. Due to teacher shortage, her classroom teaching starts from 6 a.m. and ends at 3 p.m. Is the assignment given her just? Choices. A. Yes. The situation demands that she render longer teaching hours. B. Yes, as long as she signs a conforming letter to that effect. C. Rendering longer teaching hours would make a teacher tired and exhausted. Or D. No, Magna Carta for Public School Teacher states that the exigencies of service any may be required to render more than 6 hours and not more than 8 hours of the actual teaching, actual uh, classroom teaching a day. So the correct answer there is letter D, no. Dapat huwag tayong sumubra. Magna Carta for Public School Teachers states that in the exigencies of service, any teacher may required to render more than 6 hours and not more than 8 hours actual classroom teaching day. So sa duty hours natin na 8 hours, 6 hours lang yung teaching kasi yung 2 hours will be done for preparation. Hindi naman pwede turo-turo for 8 hours. Napaka overwork na ng teacher noon, okay? But reality speak, madami din naman nag-work ng more than 8 hours nga, gabihan pa. Pero hindi yan tama. Yung sinasabi ko, ang tama ay, at nararapat lamang sa mga guro, ay 6 hours lang sa bawat araw yung teaching tasks. At saka 2 hours preparation. The more than that, she must be paid for a certain amount of additional services. Alright? Number 8. Teacher L, a graduate of BSN with majorship in mathematics, teaches in a national high school in her province. Since she has been rated outstanding in her performance, can she be exempted from taking the late? Again, since she has been rated outstanding in her performance, can she be exempted from taking the late? A. Yes. That is privilege that must be given to teachers whose performance is outstanding. B. Yes, if it is approved by PRC. C. No. Republic Act 1736 states that no person shall practice or offer to practice the teaching profession in the Philippines or be appointed as teacher, calling for teacher position with a valid certificate of registration and a valid license from the commission. Or D. No, professional license is required of all teachers regardless of age and performance. The correct answer is letter C. Okay, he's not allowed because it states that a person shall practice to or offer a practice of teaching or to be appointed to any position without having certificate of registration. Sabi ng iba, ma'am, yung sa mga private school, pwede rin magturo kahit walang license. Actually, private school is being monitored by the DepEd, pero hindi sila stricto na dapat lahat ng teacher ay licensed. In the accreditation policy, a private school is only required number of licensed people unless they will opt into a higher accreditation. So, halimbawa, pag gusto nyong college kayo at gusto nyong mag-level up yung accreditation nyo, kailangan mag-hire ka ng mga master's degree holder at saka mga doctor. Okay? So, pataas na yung tinatawag nating accreditation. That's why may tinatawag na accreditation level number 1, number 2, number 3, level number 4. So, pag level number 4, medyo mataas na yon. You are one of the known university already. However, there are some schools who haven't meet the standard that the CHED required. So, hindi nila ma-meet yung accreditation level. Alright? Number 9. Which of the following statement is not true about code of ethics for professional teacher? A. The teacher must select which information to keep confidential. B. The teacher must demonstrate full commitment and devotion to duty. Or C, the teacher must manifest pride in the nobility of teaching profession. Or D, the teacher must make no prejudice or discrimination to any learner. So among the options there, the options are all true and correct. But when it talks about code of ethics for professional teacher, it must be a teacher who select information to keep confidential. For us, outsider observer or spectators, a teacher must all time keep necessary information very confidential when it is not actually in line to the duty of yours to spread the news. Ang problema nating mga guro, kasi pag teacher ka, alam mo masyado lahat yung mga storya ng bawat estudyante mo sa classroom. So parang you're the keeper of what is confidential and what is should not be taught in public or other people. Okay? So the correct answer is letter A. 10. Which of the following could be the reason for the teacher's suspension from the practice of teaching profession? Hello kayo dyan, ha? Andyan pa ba kayo?
Yes, yes, yes.
Nakikinig lang kasi baka antukin yung iba. Kausapin din natin, ha? Okay? Yung kapanahunan ngayon, alam nyo na, daming nangyayari sa buhay natin. Tama ba? Mga kalibo babies dyan. Madami tayong pinagdadaanan ngayon. Pagdaanan ng natin, huwag nating tambayan. Kahit ako, guys, I would like to tell you, medyo takot ako this week kasi ang daming nag-positive sa kapaligiran namin. That's why we opted to stay at home for 14 days kasi ayaw din namin ma-infect yung iba. If ever na-infect kami, wag nang i-infect yung iba. Sa Robinson, nag-lockdown yung kapaligiran namin doon kasi madaming ang positive. And it was sad news na may nag-positive din sa malapit sa office namin. Nag-lockdown yung supermarket. Malapit sa Robinson, nag-lockdown yung kapaligiran namin doon kasi madaming ang positive. And it was sad news na may nag-positive din sa ino-occupy naming building. So therefore, we opted not to duty na lang. Dito na lang muna sa bahay. So, and we, ko, yung mother-in-law ko or father-in-law, at saka yung mga taong makasalamuhan natin. So, 2 weeks ngayon, I am opted to stay at home, walang lalabas. Bawal lumabas, sabi ni Kim Chu. So, yun. Bakit kami narito? Okay? So, yun. Now, ang tanong sa mga ladies natin dyan, which of the following could be the reason for the teacher suspension? Bakit ba nasuspende yung teacher? A. Immoral, unprofessional, or dishonorable conduct. B. Observing proper procedure and obtaining certificate of registration. Faithfulness to the code of ethical and professional standard for professional teachers. Or willingness to attend seminars, workshop, conferences, and the like. So all three there is correct. The B, C, and D. So therefore, the correct answer is letter A. If you are immoral, unprofessional, or dishonorable conduct. Ma'am, paano mo sasabi na si teacher immoral? Pag hindi siya pasok sa moral standard or code of ethics of being a professional teacher. Nagiging unprofessional siya or dishonorable conduct. So one of examples is that Joshua, pwede bang mag-PDA si teacher? Yes or no? Pwede bang mag-PDA yung teacher? You don't know what PDA is? Public display of affection. Pwede ba siya? Ay, wala? Naririnig niyo ba pa ba ako? Baka nawala ako. Hello? Andyan pa ba ako?
Hello?
Sabi ko, affection, a dishonorable conduct. Sa'yo yata yan, Joshua, yung manok na yan. Alright, guys? Sige, magtatanong ako kay Queenie. Queenie, hello? Yes, public display. Sino ba nakapag-public display of affection? Ako. I have tried alam nyo, boyfriend, Sharon, ganon, pa-cute, ganon. Naranasan ko rin yan. Okay? So therefore, is the public display of affection is a dishonorable conduct? The answer is yes, when you do it publicly with obscenity. What do you mean when you say obscenity? Yung, yung medyo, obscene, medyo bastos ang dating. So it's important also, guys, that you must learn how to perform certain practices na with grace. Sandali, nawawala daw ako. Okay na ba ako? Naririnig niyo na ba ako? Hindi ko nabasa yung kay Ma'am Junisa na na chat. Si Ma'am Junisa, okay na ba? Hello, Ma'am? Andyan ba ako?
Putol-putol po, ma'am.
Napuputol-putol ako? Okay, sige. But anyhow, andyan pa rin.
Opo.
Okay, sige. Nadula. Oo, nawala nga presentation ko kasi chinecheck ko kung may nakikinig pa, baka wala ng tao. Alright? Okay, proceed. So, next number tayo, ha? Okay. Sandali. Show you the presentation now. Sa'yo pala yung manok, Joshua. Medyo maingay siya. Alright, next question. Dr. Velasco, a school division superintendent, acted on the complaint filed by a group of parents against alleged misconduct of a particular teacher. She issued a memorandum requiring her to take leave of absence for a week while the complaint is being heard yet. Was the action of superintendent legal? The answer is yes, because she is the superintendent. B, no, because the complaint has not been heard yet. C, yes, the superintendent has disciplinary authority over teachers. Or D, no, the superintendent has no disciplinary authority over the teacher. The answer is letter D, no. Bakit kaya? Kasi yung teacher will be directly under the supervisory of principal. So, it should be through channel tayo, ha? It should be through the principal, the supervisor, and the superintendent. Do you agree, guys? Yun. So, dapat na through channel tayo. Right? So, superintendent-wide. Okay? So, supervisory is the district-wide. And we have the principal who is the school-wide, who is in charge of the school-wide disciplinary action. Number 12. A school academic coordinator has been found to have engaged in gambling, which has caused him to be absent most of the time. Can the certificate of registration as a teacher be revoked? A, no, unless he's proven guilty. B, no, because he's protected with his right as teachers. Yes, because he's incompetent, or yes, because habitual gambling is a dishonorable conduct and is against the practice of teaching. The answer is D, yes. Because habitual gambling is dishonorable conduct and is against the practice of teaching. I would like to give you a scenario, ma'am. Kailan ba mawawala yung license ng teacher? So, under Republic Act 4617, it's Magna Carta for Public School Teacher. If the teacher used drugs and alcohol, you can revoke the license or the license card of a teacher. Second, because of the dishonorable conduct. Halimbawa, yung mga scandals, halimbawa, pag na-involve ka sa scandals, nakakaano yon. Recently, my husband shared to me yung scandalous na nagawa ng treasurer at saka ng kapitan. Bawal yon. Pag yan nangyayari kay guro, naka-streamline kayo, tapos may nagwa-watch over, hindi pwede yon. And that is a very dishonorable conduct, and so therefore it can cause a revocation of license. And the third one is willful. Ano yung willful? Willful not attending trainings and seminars. Yung ayaw na ayaw mo sa principal mo at because dahil ayaw mo sa kanya, hindi ka nag-a-attend ng mga seminars kasi feeling mo matalino ka na. So with that, the principal can request the revocation of your license. You cannot be called professional if you are like that. So that's the reason why, ma'am, napakahirap pala magiging professional teacher. The answer is yes, because you have to maintain some certain level of standards and competence. So, hindi lang naman sa pagka-teacher yan, kahit sa broadcaster. So, being a broadcaster, yung mga media natin, anchormen, they are also supposed to deliver professional ethics. They should also observe rather responsibility and professional ethics in their delivery of the reports. Kasi pag nagre-report ka, hindi mo naman pala alam yung report, copycat ka lang, you are not supposed to be called professional reporter. And so therefore, you are not supposed to be given a chance to air or to be an anchorman or broadcaster at that. Alright? So let's proceed to the next number 13. Mr. Santos is a holder of valid certificate of eligibility as a teacher issued by the Civil Service Commissioner. And then next, while Mr. Cruz is a registered professional who is allowed to practice the teaching profession in the Philippines. Alright. So, now, who is a holder of valid certificate here? Both civil service, A, Mr. Santos, because of his CSC eligibility certificate, or B, Mr. Cruz, because their credentials are both recognized by law, or C, both of them, because their credentials are both recognized by the law, or D, neither of the two, because they did not take and pass the LET. Alright, the correct answer there is letter C, both of them, because their credentials are both recognized by law. Formerly, yung board exam for teachers is under Civil Service Commission. Because of the Professionalization Act, Republic Act 7836, it was transferred to PRC. So whether the license is issued by the CSC or issued by the PRC, it was honored by the law. So the correct answer is letters. Next number. What is 6713 or Republic Act 6713 also called? A. Ethical Standard for Public Employees. B. Code of Ethical Standard for Government Officials and Employees. Or C. Code of Conduct for Ethical Standard for Public Officials and Employees. Or D. Code of Ethical Standards and Conduct for Government Official and Employees. The correct answer is letter C. Code of Conduct and Ethical Standard for Public Officials and Employees. So the question is a teacher a public employee? The answer is yes. Yes, they are supposed to follow the Code of Conduct or the Republic Act 6713. Who else? Public officials, yung binoto natin, yung mga nagnakaw sa PhilHealth. They are also part of the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standard for Public Officials and Employees. Yung naglagay ng white sand doon sa Manila Bay. Alright? Nagigil ako doon. Bakit? Because in a few years, o kahit 1 year lang, pag may bagyo, iwawash out yung white sand. Sayang yung pera. It was cost 357 million. And sana nakatulong po sa mga mahihirap sa atin na nawalan ng trabaho during this pandemic. That's the reason why sabi ko, anyari sa gobyerno ngayon. Alright? Napapatanong ka. It's not all about the politician who is sitting there. It's not all about the dilawan or who is the tapang and malasakit. It's all about the practices that these public officials and employees are doing. Kasi we're paying our tax. Sayang ngayon yung kaibigan kong taga-UP, sabi niya sa akin, okay na lang yung taga-UP, taga-ISAT, taga-PNU na nagrarally o PUP. Nagrarally sila para ipunahin ang gobyerno or nagrarally sila kasi they want to tell the government that there are people who are watching over them. Kaysa naman nakaupo ka pero nagnanakaw ka. Tama naman. Ang tatalino pa rin yung mga nakaupo according to Duterte, the best among the best yung pinili niya. The best among the best. Sana lang ma-stop na ang tutok tayo sa pag-overcome ng COVID. Kasi pag hindi tayo mag-overcome ng COVID up to the end of this year, talagang nakakatakot yung next year. Yung tinatawag nating apocalypse. Ano yon? Yung people will just tend to survive. Magnanakaw yan, bakit magnanakaw? Kasi wala ng pagkain. Okay? So, yung public official natin, nagnakaw. Parang just so ironic of life. However, as a student like us right now, as a professional, I would like still to consider the code of conduct and ethical standard for being a public official and employees. Natatakot ako magiging public servant kasi baka hindi ko kaya yung demand ng tao. Because your boss is not the president. Once you become a public employee, your boss is the people. Madami tayong punta ng mga city hall, capitol, magkukuha ka ng mga services ng employee. Aba, susuplada ka? Ha? Bakit pa sila suplada? Ewan ko. Hindi dapat. Bakit? Because bayad sila ng taxes natin. Sa bawat bayad ng tao, halimbawa sa aming negosyo, sa bawat bayad na 1,000 pesos, 100 pesos pala, 12 pesos pumupunta sa gobyerno. Parang they're making business out of the government. Ngayon, wala ng pera ang gobyerno. Bakit? Madaming nagsara na business entity. Sino bang magsusurvive sa isang restaurant na wala na naman kumakain for almost 6 months? Walang kumakain. And I am happy that I'm still blessed because andito pa ako. Yung school nyo, andyan pa. Kasi madami ding school yung nag-close. That's the reason why, class, you have to think about it. Kailangan nating mag-work hand in hand. Kailangan nating punahin ang gobyerno na kapag may pumupuna sa kanila, medyo alarm sila o may nakatingin. Pag walang pumupuna ay nako, lahat dyan abusado. Alright? So number 15. Teacher V, a BA Ed graduate, is preparing for the LET. Just like you're now preparing for LET. Which of the following should she focus her attention more? Okay? A, general education. B, specialization. C, professional education. Or D, general ed and professional education. Okay, malalaman yan mga BE Ed dyan. Anong focus mo ngayon? The correct answer is letter D, Gen Ed and Proof Ed. Bakit Gen Ed and Proof Ed? Kasi pag BE Ed ka, 40% of your examination come from general education and 60% from professional education. Okay? Pag BS Ed naman, 20 lang ang Gen Ed, 40 ang Proof Ed, at saka 40 yung specialization or majoring mo. So, ma'am, BE Ed ako. Ano ang tutok ko? Read a lot. The more information you know, the better. Ma'am, ano yung Proof Ed? Ito rin tinuturo natin. Ha, ma'am, mahirap ang Prof Ed. Oo, mahirap yung Prof Ed. Bakit? Kasi ang professional education, hindi siya kagaya ng Gen Ed na pag alam mo. Bakit? Sa Gen Ed kasi, it talks about your recall, memory. Halimbawa, sino ang unang girlfriend ni Rizal? Or ano ang pangalan ng aso ni Rizal? So, it's answerable by 4 W's. When, where, who. Parang ganon. Ang general in education, pwede siyang i-scan mo, i-memorize mo. Ang Proof Ed, it needs analysis and critical thinking. So, minsan, nako-confuse ka. Ma'am, ka-tricky talaga ng question sa Proof Ed. Exactly. And that's the reason why the early you prepare, the better. Ma'am, bakit pag early prepare ka, gagaling ka ba sa Proof Ed? Naman. Bakit? Kasi pag early yung preparation mo sa Proof Ed, ang mangyayari, nasasanay ka na sa mga critical questioning because what we are giving here is a board exam questions compilation. And so, therefore, pag ganun, na sanay ka na, pagdating ng board exam, madali yung pagpili mo. You are trained to be critical in analyzing the questions. But what about anong specialization? Bakit? Ano bang pinag-iba ng PCCE sa ibang review center? Yung PCCE kasi, nagtutok na kami ngayon, no? From global experts, lesser lang yun, yung focus ng majorship. Ngayon, sa PCCE, pang matagalan yung majoring. That's why sabi ko nga, uh, starting November or December, magsisegregate na kami ng estudyante so that we can already start the majoring. Bakit yung majoring importante ba? Because it composes 40% of your passing score. So, yun yung dapat naintindihan ng estudyante. Bakit si Ma'am Ruby, bakit talaga ano to pera-pera? Hindi to pera-pera. Hindi to usapang pera-pera. Kasi pag pera-pera, talagang istrikto kami magsingil. No. Ito po, kasi wala naman kaming ginagawa. Boring din naman pag umupo ka. So, what about this sharing of ideas while you are free? Plus, sa Facebook yan. Nasa YouTube yan. You can watch that anytime you want. Alright? What else? Nasa ano yan? Nasa Google Classroom yan. So, sino ang lugi dito? Actually, pag tingnan natin, mas lugi kami. But we don't mind kasi the more you share the knowledge, the better. Nagbabayad kami ng lecturer. Yes, yung pag nagpagbago-bago yung lecturer natin, bayad yun. Pero alam nyo, magagaling din sila. Right? So, I really admire those people who been part of this journey because magagaling sila. So, I just pick up several people whom I know can help you a lot. That's the reason why you grab that opportunity. So the component is that then, pag longer preparation, more practice, equals to success. Ma'am, kasi kukuha na ako ng March. Kailan ka magpe-prepare? Sa January na lang, ma'am. That's too short. Yung March namin, magsa-start ng October. Magsa-start kami slowly, online, hanggat mag-face-to-face na tayo. Yun yung sinasabi ko. So, yung nag-start na kami enrollment for March exam. Maliit lang yung estudyante. Maliit lang yung estudyante because of the K-12, pero marami yung nadidelay. Pero yung hanggat may COVID, hindi tayo guaranteed. We want to do the face-to-face. Alright? So, yun, ganun. So, mag-face-to-face tayo, guro, mga November, end of October, November, parang ganun. Alright? Pag allowed na lahat ng area na pwede nang lumabas. Kasi sabi ni Kim Chu, bawal pa. Alright? Here, proceed. Number 16. What norm of conduct is manifested by being loyal to the Republic and to the Filipino people? A. Professionalism. B. Nationalism and patriotism. C. Responsiveness to the public. Or D. Honesty. Alright. The correct answer, of course, when you are loyal to the Republic and to the Filipino people, nationalism and patriotism. Alright? The correct answer is letter B. Are you a nationalist? Are you patriotic? I'm telling you people, this is a very important element when you are a Filipino. Yung tawag na di pasisiil. Alam nyo, di mo ba naririnig yung kanta ng Les Miserables na inadapt ng Philippine government? Tinig ng bayan na galit. O, di ba ganon? Himig ito ng Filipinong ni muli palulupig. Parang gano'n. So, parang kumakanta ka ng Philippine National Anthem, bayang magiliw, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. And you know, you're about to cry. Bakit? Kasi naiiyak ka. Bakit? Kasi Pilipino ka. Okay? So, nationalism and patriotism. Ang nangyayari ngayon, September 11, there will be the government granted Marcos a holiday in honor to his name. Marcos was known to be the second to the highest graft and corrupt person in the world. Tapos, ino-honor ng Pilipinas. Pinagtatawanan niya ako, bakit ba ma'am inis na kay Marcos? You were not born then. But my teacher was. And she said, ang dami niyang galos. Bakit? Babae siya. nilagay siya sa loob ng bilangguan at saka tinorture. So, hindi natin alam yun, but the history speaks a lot. Alright? So, nationalism and patriotism may consider Gabriela Silang. Sino pa? Apolinario Mabini, Jose Rizal, Bonifacio. Madami tayong mga patriotic talaga na anong ginagawa, ma'am? Na talagang they enclose the Philippines as owned by the Filipino people. And that one is called sovereignty. Soksay Major ka Joshua. Sovereignty of the people. Yung pagbigay ng Kalayaan Island or Scarborough Shoal to the Chinese is actually giving up to the sovereignty of the Filipino people. So, sa mga iba, syempre mababaw lang naman yung understanding nila. Basta importante maganda, importante ganito, importante matapang yung presidente. Hindi yon. Tapos, if you speak against the government, dilawan agad. Hindi naman dilaw ako Alright? So, number 17. Mr. Salazar, a school superintendent, filed his statement of assets and liabilities upon assuming to office. Under what ethical standard does this practice fall? Divestment, prohibited acts and transaction, liabilities, system of incentive. Obviously, the correct answer is letter C, and it's not. Letter C. Bakit mali? Statement, this is SALN. Okay? SALN means statement of assets and liabilities. Sorry, nagkamali ko yung encoder. Alright? So, ano yung statement of assets and liabilities? So, we call that SALN. That a public official and a government must declare all his assets and liabilities. Anong issue? Sabi niya si Duterte has never been showing his assets and liabilities or SALN. Madaming politiko na madaming pera pero hindi natin alam. Hindi lang yun yung kilala natin. Meron din na hindi talaga nag-file. So, anong ginagawa nila? For the sake of information, guys, yung mga kandidato, yung mga politiko na maraming pera na nagkukurap, ang ginagawa nila, hindi nila pinapangalan yung pera nila sa kanila. They put it in the name of their children. Yung iba sa kapatid, ganun-ganun. Ang iba naman, tinatago sa mga life insurances, mga investment. Alright? So, dapat yung mga investment mo declared yan. That's the reason why yung mga investment company, nagpapasign sila ng AMLA. Ano yung AMLA? Anti-Money Laundering Law. Okay? Bakit nagsasign ka ng AMLA? In order to have a waiver na itong pera na i-invest ko, hindi ko kinuha sa money laundering thing. That's the reason why nagpiperma sila ng waiver. Alright? So that's the reason why we have to be knowledgeable of what's happening around. Bakit siya maraming pera? Lifestyle check. Sweldo mo, general ka, lagay natin 100,000. Ang property mo, hindi tugma sa kinikita mo. Ang sabi ng isa kasi yung anak ko, nakapanalo sa loto, parang ganun-ganun yung mga excuses ng iba, pero hindi tama yun. Ang pinakamahirap na senador na nakilala ko na nag-file is si Trillanes. Nakilala ko na nag-file is si Trillanes with the asset and of only 2 million, 4 million pala, 4 million. Alright? So, si Bongo, kino-question kasi yung assets and liability niya, na SALN niya, is only 2 million. Tapos, yung ad niya sa TV cost 55 million. So, may mga imbalances doon. But anyhow, dapat yung COA natin must also be implementing rigidly their policies. Number 18. Principal B acted on the letter complaint received by his office 30 days after saying that was preoccupied by more important things the past days. Is this reason acceptable? The answer is yes, because he has to prioritize things. B. No. Republic 6713 states that public official and employees must act promptly on letters and requests within 15 working days from the receipt thereof. C. Yes, because no letter of complaint can wait, is no urgency. Or D. No reason is simply not doing it. B. The correct answer is letter B. No, it's not an excuse. Republic Act 6713, public official and employees must act promptly. Letters and requests within 15 working days from receipt thereof. Let's say, sabi nila, yung mga talagang straight, nagre-request ka sa government, yung pabalik-balikin ka, hindi tama yun, ha? Because they need to do it within 15 days upon receipt. Halimbawa, ma'am, kung hindi 15 days, yung pinahintay ka lang, kukuha ka ng full tax or sidula, papahintayin ka ng 4 na oras o 3 oras o 2 oras. Hindi makatarungan yon. That's the reason why in the government offices, may tinatawag tayong anti-red tape. Dapat may citizen charter dyan na kukuha ng permit within a day na hindi pinapabalik, punta ka kay ganito, punta ka kay ganito. That's so bureaucratic. So, hindi tama. So, therefore, once you are doing things, dapat it must be when you are a government, right? Next one, 19. Which of the following is the norm of conduct under Republic Act 6713? Not in the norm of conduct. Professionalism, pasok. Justness and sincerity, pasok. Commitment to public interest, pasok. Responsiveness to the private, hindi pasok. Alright? The correct answer is letter D. Yung inuuna mo yung taong may pera, hindi yun pasok. Maling-mali yun. Alright? So, we have to be observed. Once you are a public official, you have to consider all those. Okay? So, are you still there? Joshua, still there? Next one. Which of the following is true about teachers person under the code of ethics for professional teacher? A. Live with dignity at all times, wherever he or she is. Tama. B. Serve as a model worthy emulation. Pwede. Tama din. Place premium upon self-respect and self-discipline. Tama? Or D. All of the above. So the correct answer, of course, is letter D. All of the above. Okay? Next one. Miss Erica, in her biology class, accompanies her discussion with interesting visual aids. She strongly believes that students learn better when lessons are presented with images, real or imagined, aside from mere lecture method. Tama naman. Alam niyo, people, napakahirap talaga mag-lecture method, most especially walang sumasagot. Which learning theory does she uphold? A. Dual coding theory, information processing, meaningful reception learning theory, or social cognitive theory? The correct answer is dual coding theory. Ano tinatawag yung dual coding theory? That both visual and socialization and imagination. So, ano yun? Dual coding theory. Naman ang information processing, merely sensory reception. Okay? Meaningful reception learning is when you could already transmit information in meaningful way. Social cognitive is more on imitation and modeling. So the correct answer is both. It's a dual coding theory. Next one. Miss Kalma is an excellent physical education teacher. She started teaching volleyball to her grade 2 class. Despite all her efforts, her class does not seem to learn how to play the game. What law of learning was disregarded? Law of the shoes, law of effect, law of exercise, or law of readiness? The correct answer there is law of 2, grade 2 class, ready for volleyball, yes or no? May tao ba dyan?
Law of readiness, ma'am.
The correct answer is law of readiness. At grade 2, hindi pa handa ang bata. Are you there?
No.
Putol-putol ba ako, Joshua?
Oo, ma'am. Yan agad ako sa ubos-ubos mo.
Okay, proceed. Parang uulan kasi. 22. Law of readiness. Next number. Okay. Teacher J, a physical education teacher, demonstrate a new skill to be learned so that his student can watch him and later reproduce the skill. What theory is associated with the situation? Watching him is that dual coding learning theory, information processing, schema learning theory, schema, or D, social learning. The correct answer is, any guess, Joshua? The correct answer is letter D, social learning. What is social learning? Advanced by Albert Bandura. What is that? Imitation, emulation, conditioning, copying. That's the idea. Gaya-gaya, puto maya. Ang nakikita sa mga matatanda, sa mata ng bata ay laging tama. That is social learning. So, bakit ba adik anak ko? Kasi tatay niya adik. Ano to? Namamana? Hindi. Gaya-gaya. Yung parents niya, sigaw ng sigaw, putang ina, putang ina. So, ano yung mga tao niya? Putang ina din. Ano yan? Ano, sa dugo? Hindi. Gaya-gaya. Social learning. Lahat ng nakikita ng bata sa matatanda ay para sa kanila ay tama. Alright? Proceed tayo. 24. Patrice is always fearful of fairly roaming dogs, but does not mind dogs in a pen or on a leash. What feature of classical conditioning is exhibition? A. Discrimination. B. Extension. C. Generalization. D. Practice. Alright, this is what you call different forms of approach to conditioning. Number 1, letter A rather, discrimination. Takot ako sa ahas, pero hindi sa ahas na hindi nangangagat. That one is discrimination. Takot ako sa aso, pero hindi ako takot sa aming aso. Generalization. Takot ako sa lahat ng aso. Sa ahas, takot ako sa lahat ng ahas, nangangagat man o wala. Alright? Another term for that is what we call acquisition. What is acquisition? Nang dahil ako'y nakagat na ng aso, ngayon ay takot na ako sa aso. Dati hindi. That is acquisition. Okay, sa relasyon. Dati ako sinaktan ng boyfriend ko na binigyan ko ng lahat sa akin. That's why, ngayon, takot na akong umibig. What is that? Acquisition. Pag sinasabing, takot ako sa lahat ng mga lalaki, except sa kapatid kong lalaki, discrimination. Takot ako sa lahat ng lalaki, generalization. Sinaktan ako ng lalaki, kaya ayaw ko na sa mga lalaki, acquisition. Ano naman yung extension? Nasanay ako na palagi kang nandyan sa tabi ko. Okay? Ano yun? Nawala siya, nawala din yung pag-ibig ko. Nawala yung pag-alaga niya, nawala din yung pag-ibig ko. So, extension is very close to the law of disuse. Kinakausap mo palagi yung boyfriend mo, nag-separate kayo, wala ka na palaging kausap, nawala yung conditioning mo. Pero nasanay kang araw-araw kinakausap ka niya, medyo apektado ka pa. Pero habang na-condition ka na, wala na talagang kumakausap sa'yo, nawawala. That is extension. So ano ang clue? Extension, nawawala. Discrimination, hindi lahat. Generalization, lahat. Acquisition is nabago ang behavior mo. Alright? Are you there? You get it? So the correct answer here is letter A, discrimination. 25. A music teacher is careful in planning activities for each lesson. He praises liberally and rewards correct answers. What view of learning is exhibited? Classical conditioning, meaningful learning, operant conditioning, social learning. Okay, isa-isahin natin. Yung classical learning, nagbago yung pananaw mo kasi nasanay ka repeated representation. Kagaya ng aso ba? Nagsalivate ang aso pag may pagkain. Pero sabi ni Pablo, i-condition ko gamit yung bell. Dapat maglalaway ang aso sa bell. So, Pavlov associated the bell with the food. Bell food, bell food, bell food. Repeated representation to the learner. Na-condition yung learner na if there's a bell, there is food. So, pag bell, naglalaway na siya. What kind of conditioning? Classical conditioning. So, anong gagawin ko? Okay, so classical conditioning. Yun yung pag-represent ng classical conditioning. Okay? However, guys, I would like to tell everyone, hindi lang naman ang classical conditioning ginagawa sa mga ganyan-ganyan. Classical conditioning can also be done. Yung classical conditioning ay ginagawa din naman ng mga tawag doon, ng mga relasyon. Paano ba ginagawa sa relasyon yung classical conditioning? Yung classical conditioning natin ngayon na sinasabi ginagawa sa mga relasyon, sinanay ka araw-araw, binibigyan ka ng flower, madami kang mga binibigay sa'yo. So, nasanay ka. So, that's classical conditioning. However, one day nawala yun. So, extension yung nangyayari. Nawala din yung conditioning na yun. Okay? So, yung classical, pag matalino ka, madaling gawin yan. So, next one is what we call meaningful learning. Yung meaningful learning naman talks about advanced organizer. Okay? Ano mang tinatawag na advanced organizer? Yung tinatawag nating advanced organizer, ito ang ito yung ng diagrams, yung graphic organizer, yung mga fishbowl of meaningful learning. Ang operant conditioning, which is the correct answer, is both rewards and rewards for correct answer. So, pag may reinforcement, positive or negative, operant conditioning yan by B.F. Skinner, who utilizes mice. Yung social learning is Albert Bandura, gaya-gaya. What you see, what you observe is being followed. Okay, the correct answer there is operant, C, operant conditioning. Ma'am, again, bakit operant conditioning? Sa classical, walang reward ha. Sa operant conditioning, meron. Alright, 26. Which of the theories of learning presents or states that learning skills are hierarchically arranged? Cumulative learning, meaningful learning, social cognitive learning, theory of instruction. That one is A, cumulative learning. Cumulative learning. Okay, from simple to complex, it's a bundle of ideas that is being given in a series from easiest to difficulty, to the most difficult rather. That one is cumulative learning. Next one, which of the following best describe what meaningful learning is? A, sabi ko, meaningful learning is David Osobel's concept. A, when what is to be learned is new and easy for a student. Or B, material presented are difficult and challenging to the students. C, when the materials to be learned is related to what the students already know. Or D, students find the lesson easy and relevant of what was taught, given to them. The correct answer is letter C, when the materials to be learned is related to what the students already know. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag natin meaningful ang learning kung yung tinuturo ay nakarelate yung estudyante. Alright? Okay? Mali yung pag-insert. Next one. Number 28. Vanessa easily remembered dates and events in history. What component of LTM does Vanessa have? What is LTM? LTM in an information processing theory represents the long-term memory. So when Vanessa easily remembered dates and events in history, what component? Is it creative thinking, critical, reflective, or logical thinking? The correct answer is letter C, reflective thinking. Mabilis niyang maisip, mabilis niyang ma-imagine. That is reflective thinking. Letter C. 29. An earth science teacher has just completed a unit on the sun as she organizes her next unit on other stars. She uses the sun as a frame of reference. What view of learning was used? Is that discover learning, information learning, meaningful learning, transfer learning? The correct answer here is letter C, meaningful learning. Okay, alam niya kasi yung sun, everybody's knowledgeable. So, nirelate niya yung learning to what those students already familiar or know. Okay, next one. Which is an application of cognitive approach to motivation. Okay? So, when you talk about cognitive, it talks about rationality, reasons, it talks about minds, thoughts, reflections. A. Explain the reason for studying climate for students. B. Create supportive classroom climate. C. Provide clear and prompt feedback on assignments. Or D. Begin lessons with challenging questions and conflicting events. The best answer there is letter A. Explain the reasons for studying climate for students. What is the clue there? The word reasons for cognitive. 31. Grace is bilingual. She speaks both English and Filipino fluently. She begins to study Spanish and immediately recognizes similarities between Spanish and Filipino languages and uses this information to acquire new language faster. What kind of transfer was Grace able to use? Is that lateral, general, specific, vertical? That one is what we call specific transfer. You do specific transfer when the learning is based on what the students already know. Next one. Christina is almost asleep when she felt the need to go to the bathroom. She tried to sleep it off, but after a while she was forced to stand up and go to the bathroom. What theory of motivation explained Christina's behavior? Attribution theory, drive theory, expectancy and values theory, Solomon's opponent theory. The correct answer, letter B, drive theory. You cannot tell your kid need to stop thinking about urinating. Of course, it's a drive thing. So therefore, once it is a drive, it becomes involuntary. Whether you like it or not, lalabas yan. So it talks about B, drive theory. Bakit mali? Number 33. Marco excels in adding number. He learned his skill in his math class. He is now applying his skill in his music class. Okay? What type of transfer was used? From math to music. That one is what we call general transfer. So specific, what we learned in math, we applied it as a tool of science. General transfer. Okay? Next one. Mr. Lorenzo would always give a chapter test on a Friday. What schedule of reinforcement is used by Mr. Lorenzo? Is that fixed interval, fixed ratio, variable interval, variable ratio? That one is called fixed interval. Letter A. Every Friday, fixed interval. Next one. To remember the 6 digits 843945, math teacher grouped the numbers into twos, 843945, or in threes, 843945. What control process of retaining information is referred to is the chunking, interfering, rehearsing, remembering. The correct answer is letter A, chunking. When you say interfering, you are predicting. When you say rehearsing, you are practicing. And remembering is recall. But this one, when you do the when you group, that one is called A, chunking. Number. Rob regularly practiced playing the guitar so that he can finish book 1. His mother bought him or promised to buy him a Nintendo when he finished book 1. How is Rob motivated? Extrinsically, intrinsically, with self-discrimination, with self-efficacy. Among the options there, the correct answer is letter A. That one is extrinsically. Hindi yan self-discrimination. What is extrinsically? Because his mother motivate him to a certain reward, and that is Nintendo. Okay, that one, letter A. Extrinsically. Next number. 7. Lara excels in dancing and in certain sports. According to Gardner, what intelligence is dominant in Lara? Bodily kinesthetic, intrapersonal, musical, spatial. Since it involves dancing and sports, that one is included in letter A, bodily kinesthetic. Okay? So uh, how many intelligences do we have under Howard Gardner? We have 9 intelligences, and that includes these 4: the bodily kinesthetic, the intrapersonal, the musical, the spatial. When you're good rather in drawing, you are belong to the spatial. When you're good in sounds and music, that's musical. Intrapersonal, when you're good in reflections and advice, and of course, meditation, that is intrapersonal. The correct here is body kinesthetic. 38. According to Bronfenbrenner, what system contains structures that has direct contact with the child? It's the chronosystem, exosystem, mesosystem, microsystem, and the correct answer is the microsystem. So, the microsystem is the smallest area, system natin. Halimbawa, yung surroundings natin, ha? That one is the micro. Yung exo sa labas ng sistema natin. Alright? So, D is the correct answer. Bronfenbrenner is an ecological psychiatrist. He studied how this environment within the child surroundings, and that also involves the ecology, affects the behavior of the child. Okay, that is according to Yuri Bronfenbrenner. It's the microsystem. Next one. Some learners like to find specific, concrete answers. What kind of learners are they? Accommodators, assimilators, convergers, divergers. Okay, I would like to explain what is these accommodators, assimilator, convergers, or divergers mean. This is the 4 learning style according to David Cobb, experiential learning. There are 4 types of learner. Accommodators. Accommodators are the doers of the action. Okay, assimilators. Assimilators are the observers. Okay, accommodators are doers, assimilators are observers, convergers are planners, divergers, they are what we call thinkers. Alright? So, find specific and concrete answer. The correct answer there is they are convergers. Convergers are planners. They are the highest learner. Right? So they want concrete result. Okay, although they are planners, they have to ensure the results has been met. through concrete experiences. 40. Mrs. Mercado, the home economics teacher, constantly gives a verbal guidance to her pupils. While practicing a sewing skill, what is the value of giving verbal guidance in improving pupils' learning behavior? A. It promotes the growth of interest in the new learning task. It serves as informational feedback. C. It facilitates perfections of skills. Or D. It directs people's attention to more adequate and better techniques. The correct answer there for number 40. Okay, while practicing sewing a skill, he gives feedback. The correct answer is letter B. It serves as an informational feedback. In some notation, we have to observe class na ang kinatawag dito yung nagsumasayaw ka tapos may nagpi-feedback sa likod. Tawag doon is guide at your side. So, ang method na yun ay tinatawag na scaffolding. So, sa actual board exam, paglalabas yan, scaffolding is a method when you are being guided by your MKO. Now, what is an MKO? An MKO refers to more knowledgeable others. That's your MKO. More knowledgeable others. So, your MKO will be the one to give you feedback and coach you for what is proper. Okay? So, pag matanda ka na, you can be an MKO. Or, kagaya ko, MKO na rin ako. Alright? Okay, letter B. 41. Time check tayo. What time is it? Guys? May audience pa ba ako dyan? Baka nasa YouTube sila? Hello, hello? What time, Kim?
3:40.
Time check 3:40. We are in the 41st number of our discussion. And we have 50 items. Do you have some questions so far? May tanong ba, guys? Yes, sir. May tanong po. Sa mga ladies natin, may tanong ba? Wala naman. Number 41. Which of the following statements has a very limited definition of educational technology? Ito yung bago. Bakit? Maraming tanong that refers to edtech or educational technology. Ito yung dapat natin i-focus. Bakit? Kasi hindi masyadong na-focus in the previous years yung educational technology, which is very important to the present generation of licensure examination for teachers. Alright? Ngayon ang tanong, which of the following statements has a very limited definition of educational technology? So, iba okay na, yung iba naman, limitado lang. A, it is a profession composed of various job categories. B, it refers to computer use for teaching and learning. C, it includes audiovisual material, interactive multimedia, and self-instructional materials. Or D, it is the development of application and evaluation of systems, techniques, and aids to improve human learning. The correct answer is letter B. It only refers to computer use for teaching and wrong. Hindi tama itong sagot. The correct answer is letter. Come on, you have to try. The correct answer is letter A. Tama ba? Letter A, it refers to the job, different job categories. It is a profession composed of various job categories that is not or the limited definition of educational technology. Next one, number 42. Which of the following statement is correct about the domains of educational technology? A. Design is the production and stage of development is a planning stage. Wrong. B. Both the design development are the planning stage. C. Evaluation is synonymous with implementation. Wrong. Because evaluation is the result. Or D. Utilization is the action phase. Correct. The correct answer is letter D. Utilization is the action phase. Next one. 43. Miss Gomez is planning to integrate technology in her mathematics class. Which of the following would be critical steps in doing this? In the options there, select the objectives, analyze the learner, utilize the materials with showmanship, and evaluate the performance of the student. Start with what? Analyze the learner. Number 2, followed by set the objectives. 3, utilize the materials with showmanship. And 4, evaluate the performance. The correct answer here is letter B. 44. Which of the following is a limitation of models and real objects in teaching and learning? The correct answer here, A, they pose problems in storage. B, they make learning more concrete. C, they provide hands-on learning experiences. Or D, they are readily available in the environment around school and in the home. The correct answer here is letter A. They pose problem on storage. Kasi pag realia actual, paano mo dadalhin yan? When you talk about human body, can you bring the cadaver or the dead body of a person? Yun. Next one, number 45. Which group of technologies has the highest degree of correct concreteness? Realia computer, video picture television, digital video film, versatile compact disc, or book, imaginative literature, program instruction. Of course, the correct answer there is letter A, realia and computer. When you say realia, the actual thing, it's more concrete. Alright? Next one, 46. Mrs. Del Prado placed her text together with the relevant graphics on the same page in her multimedia presentation. Which principle did she apply? Okay? A. Split attention, spatial continuity, cost effectiveness, communication effectiveness. The correct answer is letter B, spatial continuity. 47. Mrs. Olivares presented real samples of rocks in her general science class. What principle did she apply? The real sample, it refers to what we call appropriateness, authenticity, responsiveness, simplicity. The correct answer is letter B, authenticity. 48. Which of the best reason why teachers state the objectives before using instructional media? Bago ka ba, teacher, to state an objective, anong una? Is that instructional media? To secure available materials, to prepare the materials beforehand, to determine which media to use best, and to be able to practice how to operate an equipment. The correct answer is letter C, to determine which media to use best. Of course, you're not talking about the media. Your end point is that still your objective. Is your objective, is your media is your media is very best when you use it for your objectives? Dapat at the end point, you have to consult your objective. Hindi lang porke available ang media, yun na. It should determine the objectives of the lesson. Alright? 49. Which of the following should Mr. Rivera primarily consider in determining his teaching learning objectives and use of instructional material? The assessment, the learning activities, the learner, the teacher. Again, which of the following should Mr. Rivera primarily consider in determining his teaching learning objectives and the use of instructional media? The ultimate answer there is the learner. But why the learner? Bakit the learner? Because the learner is the center of educative process. So all activities must be at hand, or the center must be the learner. Last number. Which of the following technologies provide experiences to the students' children? Video and books, pictures and videos, radio and recordings, modules and periodicals. Among or basic questions, we're talking about technologies. The correct answer is the radio and the recordings. It's letter C. When you say the radio and the recordings, they are the one they will learn to experience it. All right. So let's call it a day. Hello. Are you still there? All right, guys. You can turn on your microphone. Thank you so much, guys, for attending this afternoon. And I hope you learned something. I think if you have some questions, you can post it online. Okay, meron pa akong chat na natanggap dito. Nawawala ako. Ma'am Junisa, andyan pa ba? Andyan ka pa ba? Putol na putol pa ba ako? Miss Emma? Alright, so thank you so much, Jonah. Niza na lang. And Miss Chini, thank you so much. And yung lumabas, thank you na. And then of course, those who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much, guys. Sana na shout out. And thank you so much, Joshua, na putol yata siya. And so sorry for the inconvenience with your brownout. Hindi maganda ang panahon ngayon. And thank you so much, guys. And see you around. Chat-chat lang if you have some issues. Thank you so much and good afternoon. Ciao.